Hello, thanks for being in a new video. This time I have unboxing of the MacBook Air with Apple M3 processor. We are going to get started. We have already had with us the MacBook Air with M1 with M2, and now it's the turn of this model with the most recent generation of this processor. So it will be very interesting to see how it has evolved in terms of power, because it obviously still maintains its ultra-thin design, which is what characterizes this entire Air series, as usual in the box. And as usual, Apple has a very easy-to-open box. But first, let me just read here that it comes with 8 gigabytes of unified memory. Remember, in this case, it uses that RAM for video and also for everything to do with the system. And we have 256 gigabytes solid-state storage. This is the most basic version, but there are also much more expensive versions with more RAM and more storage. So we're going to remove this tape so we can access the computer directly. The truth is that this is very easy and very simple. It is always one of the best experiences to unbox an Apple product. So once we've removed those tapes, let's go ahead and uncover the box to find the computer. We're going to take it out, and it comes in this little cover that's just going to peel off easily. And finally, we can get to know the computer. Obviously, physically, it's going to look very similar to the MacBook Air with M2. And this is the 13-inch size, but it's worth reminding you that it's also available in the 15-inch size. In fact, in this case, I have the edition with Apple M2 in 15-inch and the edition with M3 in 13-inch. Just so you can sort of see the differences, because the design is going to be pretty much the same from one generation to the next. And in this case, it serves to appreciate the differences in dimensions between the 13-inch model and the 15-inch model. So let's see what else is in the box here. We're going to come across your charging cable, as you can see, with USB-C on one side and the MagSafe connector on the other side. In a moment, I'll show you how it connects in case you've never seen how these Apple cables work. And finally, here we are going to find the papers of a lifetime. Simple documentation, and in this case still contains stickers, although probably in the next generations they will no longer send these. And you're going to have to ask for it in the store in case you want some. But that's what comes here in the box. And finally, your charger that comes with this fully integrated power adapter. Although it's still worth telling you that in this case, Apple has a cable that you can connect as an extension to this part very easily, in case you want a longer charger, or also that this hinders when plugging it into the electrical contact. Obviously, it will be a charger that does not have much power. We will test how long it takes to charge the computer for the video review. But for now, this is a brief look at the size and style of the charger. And as I was saying, the connector is MagSafe, so you just pull this over and it's going to magnetically stick. It even has an LED that's going to show you the charging status. But the nice thing about this connector is that if someone trips over the cable, it simply detaches and the computer won't fall to the ground. So it's very good for avoiding accidents, and of course it's also very easy to connect. So that's the cable. We're going to turn the computer on now. Obviously it's going to have easy one-handed opening. You don't need to stop it in order to open it properly. And as soon as you open the computer, it starts to turn on. So let me set up this computer so I can show you some quick specs on it later. So I've got this computer set up. So let me tell you about its specifications, starting with the design, which is obviously one of the highlights of this model because of how light it can be. It weighs 1.24 kilograms, although it is not the lightest computer on the market. But within Apple, I think it is one of the lightest. And let's consider, of course, the battery life that it's going to have, which will surely be spectacular. We've tested other MacBook Airs, and since they switched to Apple processors, the increase in battery life has been brutal. The thickness is 1.13 centimeters. And in addition to this edition, there are 3 other colors available. Apple calls the screen Liquid Retina. It is 13.6 inches to be exact in its diagonal. It offers IPS technology. And the specific resolution is 2560 by 1664 pixels. So if we have a very detailed screen, its brightness is 500 nits, which for a laptop and for indoor use is pretty good, although in this case it notes that even having an anti-reflective finish could become a bit annoying reflection that is generated back. Although it is very well blurred, that is to say the reflection is seen, but it is not seen with as much intensity as it would be seen in other simpler screens. Its camera will be able to give us full HD signal for video calls. Although, as you realize, it is placed in a notch that many people might dislike. It has a system of 4 speakers, but as you realize, they are not placed at the bottom as many computers integrate it. In this case, the placement is quite clever and they are placed right in the hinge area. It's a little hard to show them, but there are 4 speakers. But a drawback of many computers with slim designs is the lack of ports. And in this case, we find 2 Thunderbolt 4 ports with USB-C, also MagSafe to connect it to charge, and on the other side, only the headphone jack. So we don't find HDMI or card slot. In that sense, it gives a very basic experience. The keyboard is backlit, and obviously you can control the intensity of that illumination. But the highlight of this model will obviously be the processor, which is now the Apple M3, which already supports ray tracing. So one of the important improvements would be the gaming experience. The Mac catalog is getting a little bit bigger and bigger, although it is still very limited with respect to the catalog of games that we would find in Windows. We will also find 256 gigabytes of solid state storage and 8 gigabytes of unified RAM, as I had already shown you. But let's run this benchmark that I always run on all the computers. But just so you can see for yourself how much evolution there can be between the Apple M2 version and the M3 version. Let's run this benchmark on both computers at the same time, and I'll get back to you when we have the results so you can see the difference yourself. And here are the results. In the version with M2, it reached 1,883 points overall, while the version with M3 went up to 2,050 points. So the biggest increase was in CPU. Oddly enough though, the GPU score dropped in this test, but obviously this is just a mere benchmark test. The real performance we will see in the video review when we put it to the test with various applications, video editing and even some games. But for now it has served to give you a first approach and a glimpse of this computer, which will undoubtedly find its strongest point in battery life, because so far I have not tested a computer that offers more battery life than the current MacBook with Apple M2 processors. For the moment, this has been all for this first brief approach. I hope you liked it. If you did, please let me know, and we'll see you next time.